everyone.
Man, oh man. What
Barbenheimer
a
time.
week. What a week we have spent contemplating both of these films. Guys, it's the long-awaited episode. You guys have been asking about it. It's finally here. Today we are doing Barbenheimer. What does that mean? It means we are discussing Barbie and Oppenheimer. And if you can see us right now, we're dressed for the occasion.
Hell yeah.
I took the Barbie theme. Joe took the Oppenheimer, obviously, but
Until they build a bigger
Yeah.
bum.
yes. I actually I had to redo my hair before I did the show. I was gonna do a ponytail, but then I realized I looked like Tedros from The Idol, so I was like, let me try something else.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go that route.
yeah.
Wow. So, man, I just want to preface this episode by saying this has been one of the greatest events in cinema. I would say
Since Endgame,
since Endgame,
for me,
honestly.
for me personally, since Endgame.
This was, I think this definitely tops Endgame because
Oh yeah.
it's not a franchise.
Mm-mm.
You know, they're pretty much original films.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Oppenheimer's a biopic, but
And Mattel is, but
they're pretty original. It's not like
Yeah.
it's a big franchise event, you know.
mm-hmm.
It's also two movies dropping on the same day.
Yeah.
And basically the reason I say that is because these are two movies that brought people back into the theater.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you know what the projected earnings were? Or,
I think Barbie's getting ready to cross $1 billion, and
Holy
Oppenheimer's
shit.
getting close to 500 million.
Wow, man.
So pretty successful.
Yeah. That's unheard of, especially with movies that in the recent years, with films that aren't superheroes, movies that aren't like in the major franchise like wheelhouse. That's kind of unheard of. That's kind of hadn't been done in a while. You
Absolutely. But also the thing that made me the happiest was I actually saw Oppenheimer in IMAX,
know?
which I
Yes.
recommend seeing it in IMAX if you possibly can.
If you're gonna see it, you gotta see it in IMAX. You have to. There's no other way.
And that theater was sold out.
Yeah.
And I tried getting showings after. I tried looking at showings before. They were
Yeah.
all sold out.
Yeah.
I was looking this past weekend for Oppenheimer tickets, and those were also sold out.
Yeah.
Um,
It was tough. It was tough getting tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when I went to Barbie, the thing that made me the happiest about that was everyone was dressed up in pink.
Yeah, dude.
Everyone was there was straight up a girl there that was dressed in a prom type dress.
Yeah.
That was all pink and bedazzled, and
Mothers and their kids,
Yeah.
girlfriends and girlfriends, boyfriends and
Boyfriends wearing Ken
boyfriends
shirts
and shit. It was nice, dude. It was nice just seeing everybody dressed up, excited for this movie. I remember even throughout the week going to restaurants, going out to eat, and I would still see people dressed up.
Yeah,
in,
people
the
wearing
Barbie
pink.
gear
Yeah,
and shit.
exactly.
I was like, hell yeah, they just came back
Exactly,
from the Barbie
exactly.
movie, or they're
Yeah.
going to.
I was at the mall yesterday,
Yeah.
and there was just a bunch of people just wearing pink.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. And
And that's the kind of thing that just makes the movies fun, bro.
I know,
It
it's
makes the movies so much
I was gonna
fun.
say for Spider-Man No Way Home,
Yeah.
I made custom Spider-Man shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I got a big group together. We went to go see it Thursday night. People in the theater were clapping, cheering.
Hell yeah.
And during Barbie, people were just it's I don't know. I feel I don't know about you, but I feel like it's been a while since I've been in a theater where everyone's collectively just laughing a bunch.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no greater feeling.
Dude, I'm not okay. So let me tell you real quick about my theater experience, because I went to Regal Cielo Vista, right, which is theater by Ingram. Not very busy. Not a very busy place at all.
I'm surprised that hasn't closed. Honestly,
That's actually the place that I go to whenever I can't get a ticket anywhere else. I go there. Regal. I've been going to Regal for the past 20 years. They're a great theater, but their seats are horrible.
Yeah.
Your seats just fuck your
Dude,
back
we,
up.
we sat 3 hours during Beau is Afraid at that theater, and it was rough.
I forgot. Yeah,
It was
holy
rough.
shit.
I was like, oh,
yeah, that's
getting
where
up
we
to
went.
stretch and shit.
Damn, dude. Yeah. But no, so I went there and it was funny because it was really only a handful of people in that theater, right? But even they were dressed up and it was like an 11 a.m. like showing, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to get an early showtime. And bro, I have never had so much fun just watching a movie. I felt like Robert De Niro in the front row at Cape Fear, where I was just literally smoking a cigar at the front row, just howling, laughing at the whole movie. Like, like the whole fucking way, dude. I had so much. I hope I wasn't pissing anybody off because I was having a good time.
Dude, the whole Barbie movie, I had a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter what was going on. I was just like,
Dude, I was laughing. Dude, maybe tear up. Maybe tear up.
yeah,
a little
made me
bit.
tear up. Yeah.
it
I
did.
I didn't realize like cuz okay, so typically with movies of this stature, you always get kind of like, like think back to Suicide Squad. You always get this like really kind of out there elaborate soundtrack
Yeah.
with all kinds of like top 10 artists that just
Mhm.
put songs together, and it's kind of like I worry because I feel like sometimes it's watering the movie down a little bit or
Yeah.
making it too commercial.
Yeah.
And the music in Barbie was so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how impactful that Billie Eilish song was going to be.
Dude.
Like,
yeah.
When that came on, I was like, that's. But every song, and I think maybe the reason why they hit so hard is because they didn't push out any of these songs to radio prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like with Suicide Squad, like all of them were pushing to radio, so
21 Pilots.
they were getting pushed and they were getting like replayed on radio a bunch. So then by the
Yeah.
time you saw the movie, it was like, fuck,
Yeah.
it's that song on the radio, you know?
Yeah.
But it was
yeah.
pretty much the first time I was hearing all of these songs. I mean, the Dua Lipa song that opens the movie. Well, actually, Lizzo opens the movie
Lizzo
with like a
opens the movie.
narrated kind of song,
Yeah.
and then it goes into a Dua Lipa song with like an elaborate dance number. I mean, it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome. And
What I actually didn't even realize until halfway through the movie that it was a musical, you know? Or
Yeah.
Like there was like a major musical component that I
Yes.
was just not even like acknowledging until like the Ken scene came up, and I was like, oh fuck, this is kind of a
Ken.
musical, yeah.
dude,
And that's the mark of really good filmmaking, is when you can actually have a musical number, multiple musical numbers in the movie, and no one even notices. Like,
yeah,
no one even
it's
notices.
almost like
Because I know, I don't know how many people I know that just fucking hate musicals,
Yeah.
right? People just don't like them, right? Like, I don't know. It's an acquired taste.
I
but
think
with
it's because they
Barbie-
try to like what they're trying to do, and Barbie
Yeah.
does it so effortlessly.
effortlessly. Yeah.
And I think that the thing about Barbie that was also kind of genius was I didn't really know about the plot. Like
yeah.
the trailers didn't give me the whole movie. I mean, the first trailer was the opening scene of the movie where Barbie, they're doing like a Planet of the Apes style parody.
Yeah.
That was literally
That
just
was
the
great.
first.
That was
yeah,
a great opening.
That was the
scene.
first trailer.
Yeah.
Like it didn't tell us anything about anything.
Mm-mm. And cool thing too that I noticed is that I feel like it works just because, like you said, whenever artists come in and they make an album, geared towards a movie, you worry about it becoming a commercialized. But I feel like Barbie didn't have to worry about that because it's literally a commercial.
It is,
It's
the whole
a commercial.
thing.
But it's a good commercial. They couldn't have picked a better filmmaker to, spearhead this movie. Greta Gerwig, Little Women, Lady Bird, and she's proven, with even those two films, that she's more than capable of delivering something that just totally threw me off guard in terms of like what Barbie was. Here's the thing. When I first saw the trailer for Barbie, I actually didn't really expect any kind of plot. For me, what the trailer was selling to me was that this was like a throwback kind of like 1960s beach dance movie, So I'm thinking to myself like, okay, well, if that's what they're going to do, then I'm like, that's cool. I'm down with that, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
down to watch something like that. You know, you have all this star-studded cast, 150 cameos in this film, but
Yeah.
everybody's great. John Cena's a fucking merman. That's so badass. And but then right when you're watching, right when you get into it, right when you're watching it, Margot Robbie starts thinking about death.
Yeah.
And then you're just blindsided because now the movie's just it takes a completely different turn that I didn't think it was going to take, and it ends up having a lot more depth, and there's just a lot of heart in it. There's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's genuine. It felt genuine. Like there was genuine love in this movie. There was genuine like respect for the Barbie like character,
Yeah.
and
I would have to say this is one of the most important movies for women in like the 21st century because specifically like when you make a kids movie, there's a lot of ways you could do it,
yeah,
and I think this is probably the best way you can make a kids movie
yeah,
because it's not just that whole it's for kids and also adults thing. This was a movie that actually is teaching kids something. Like
yeah.
Like, there's those kids' movies where it's like, hey, you stick up for the little guy and you could be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie was like
It felt a little
existential.
more interpersonal.
It was interpersonal. It was speaking to that voice in your head that tells you all these negative things about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie was speaking to. And it was while I was watching that movie, I almost was like, that voice inside my head was being like battled almost. Like
yeah,
I feel like it was defeated, and that's
Yeah.
why I think that this movie brought me so much joy because it was, and it's not even like I'm not saying like it was mindless entertainment. It was like
it's very nourishing. It's actually very
yeah,
nourishing
like
entertainment
nourishing,
in a
yeah,
way.
yeah, like, and this is what kids I think nowadays need. It's like
Yes, dude.
specifically young girls, like they need to feel like they're important, and this showed you all the objectification of like woman, but it also showed you how to overcome that and showed you the obstacles that you could potentially run into as a woman,
Yeah.
and how self-love is also so important to just living in general, whether
Exactly.
you're a man or a woman.
Exactly.
And we got a lot of that at first, and then you get to like Ken's musical number, like I'm just Ken,
Yeah.
and then you find like that he's finding himself as well. And this is just a movie for
Yeah.
everybody, honestly. This is one of my like movies for the soul.
Yeah,
I would say
it's definitely a movie for the soul.
this is like Little Miss Sunshine type, like just for the soul, like
Yeah, and that's also that also speaks to Greta Gerwig's writing as well. And how she's able to reach not just children but young adults and
co-written by Noah
adults
Baumbach.
as well. Oh no! Oh, Noah Baumbach
Yeah.
as well. Oh yeah,
Greta,
that's right. That's right.
Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. wrote it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, dude. I mean, it was in a way it was geared towards a general audience that it doesn't placate to them in any kind of way. It
Yeah.
actually it speaks to it genuinely. Like for instance, I think one of the best scenes in the movie for me is when it really started to emotionally hit me was when Barbie leaves Barbie World for the first time. She's going into the real world, right? And she's on Venice Beach and she's watching all the people and all the people are watching her, and now she's starting to feel self-conscious and shit. It's
Yeah.
like she's becoming actualized, like she's becoming like a person.
Yeah.
And I remember like even that feeling, dude, like being a kid and just like having like people see me for the first time and like not wanting them to, and
Yeah.
just that whole thing was just that was a great scene. And it's followed up by this scene where Margot Robbie is sitting on a bench and there's this old lady next to her, and she's literally taking in just the world. She's literally taking in the world for the first time. Like as somebody who doesn't know what death is, as somebody who doesn't know what aging is, as somebody who doesn't know what it is to be, old or to get fat, or to know like what those things like actually mean in our world, like the stigma that is carried. She doesn't know that. And then she turns to this old woman and she says, "You are so beautiful." And it's a genuine scene. And I remember even too Warner Brothers saying that they wanted to cut that scene
Yeah.
for runtime. And bro, I can tell you right now, if you had cut that scene, you would have taken out the entire soul of the movie, bro. That was all. That's what it was a fuck.
The
That was
the
what it
thing
was
that I
about.
realized too after the fact was she was telling this woman that she was beautiful not only because she really did think she was beautiful, but
Mhm.
I believe that she was telling her she was beautiful because she was old.
Yeah.
And Barbie in her current state was kind of in a mindset where she couldn't believe, like she was thinking about death, and
Yeah.
she couldn't look past her own age.
Yeah.
And of all the weight of the world, you know, she can't imagine how someone sitting across from her can
Mhm.
last that long,
Yeah.
and how ultimately you're looking at someone who's insanely strong,
Yeah.
you know, like for basically putting up with everything a woman has to go through.
Basically living a life.
Living a-
living
yeah.
a life and getting old is like a sign of a woman's strength.
Yeah.
You know?
Like to Barbie, that was beautiful
Yeah.
because in Barbie's head, no matter, you know, no matter what, she didn't see that she could even get
Yeah.
past all of these thoughts. And so to her, that was really beautiful seeing that someone actually did it.
Yeah.
So
And not to mention, I also really just enjoyed the. First off, Ryan Gosling has, dude, unmatched fucking.
I don't know if he's
charisma.
gonna get the Oscar, but he's 100. I will place money right now.
Yeah,
He will win a Golden Globe.
Golden Globe. He will be nominated.
Will be
Bottom line,
nominated
he
for
will
an
be
Oscar.
nominated.
Ken is such a simple character,
Yeah,
but no one else could have been that
Dude.
Ken. Like, there's a bunch of Kens in the movie,
yeah.
but literally, he was like no one else could be Ken. Like
Mm-mm.
Ryan Gosling's done so much work, but now he's Ken.
Yeah.
He's like, this was his Iron Man.
The dude has such an incredible range. Honestly, he can do comedies. He can do kids movies. He can do dark, gritty dramas.
Place
he can
Beyond the
do
Pines.
Fucking Place Beyond the Pines. How do you go from Only God Forgives to fucking Barbie, dude? That's insane, bro. That's such a. I respect the shit out of his filmography so much, dude.
Because like he easily could have been like a teeny bop girl fucking
yeah, or
like-
he could have gone the Tom Cruise route.
yeah,
you know, just
yeah.
rode his action career into the dirt.
Like
you
it's
know,
a little bit hard to be taken seriously when you're that handsome. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. It really
Like-
is.
Like
yeah.
it's a little like it's similar to like the stuff that Dave Bautista talks about
yeah.
because he's so muscular.
yeah.
Or like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like in the 80s, like they didn't want to put him in movies because he was so handsome and so muscular. Like
Yeah.
no one's gonna take you seriously, bro.
Exactly.
And
And then with Ryan Gosling, I even remember like in Shane Black's movie The Nice Guys, he didn't take his shirt off once in that movie because
That
they're like,
is-
there's just no, it makes no sense for him.
that's
to look
one
like
of the
this.
greatest
Like,
movies like ever. Like,
Yeah. So guys, if you liked Barbie, go see The Nice Guys because
he was basically
Ryan Gosling brings that same energy.
that same Kenergy.
Get the same energy to this 1970s style action comedy buddy movie about a missing girl. It's great. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Go check that one out. But that being said, dude, I even love the messaging actually that Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach put for Ken, you know, and just kind of how when he enters, you know, when he leaves Barbie world and he goes into the real world for the first time, he sees a society that's run predominantly by men, right? And so you kind of have these expectations just as much as women do, where you know, men are meant to be this one type of thing, where we're meant to be put in this one box where we have to have like, you know, this framework of masculinity that we work within and we can't break away from it. You know, men have to desire power. Men have to desire money. They have to desire women. They have to desire, you know, fucking trucks and horses and all that shit, you know? And so Ken, you know, he gets filled up with, you know, that kind of messaging, brings it back to Barbie world. And, you know, you come to find out that that's not even, you know, it's good that Ken wanted to find an identity, but even in that, you know, what he brought to Barbie world, it was like, well, you know, that's no good either. That's not even, because it's an unrealistic standard. It's an unrealistic standard.
He just
that,
felt like that's what he had to do.
Yeah. And I love the way they actually even talked about patriarchy, because the way they talked about it, it's like nobody knew what the fuck it meant. You know? Like nobody knew what they were talking about. And that was great too, because even Ken, when he was talking about patriarchy, he's like, I thought it was about horses, you know. I kind of lost interest once I found out, you know. And that's kind of how it is too, you know. Like men don't want patriarchy either. Like this shit sucks, dude. Being the breadwinner, being the fucking having to be the man of the house, and it's like that's pressure that's put on men as well that, you know, sometimes we don't want.
Dude, I guarantee you that, like, the president, maybe not Biden because he doesn't know where he really is half the time, but like I guarantee you, like Obama or somebody, like at some point, like put their head down on their desk. They're like hold all my meetings for the next 10 minutes, and they just fucking put their head down on their desk and they're like
dude.
Okay, I'm good. You can bring him in. Go ahead.
hands down, that was 100% Donald Trump with his Diet Coke button on the desk, thinking that's what it was all about. You know, that Diet Coke button.
You see this button right here? Push it. Diet Coke.
As soon as everybody leaves the room, he's like, oh God, what did I do?
What the fuck?
I don't want it. Like,
he's like, mommy.
Dude, yeah.
Because that's dude, you know how fucking and you know what? I just want to point out another film that touches on this same thing, but in a very different way.
Yeah.
The Fabelmans. Steven Spielberg. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Oh my God, you need to watch that. The Fabelmans.
Yeah.
It's on Showtime.
Okay.
It's literally, there's a scene where Steven Spielberg's like character. It's Steven Spielberg, but his name is I forget his name. Steven Fabelman. I don't know.
Steven.
I'm
in the dark on that one.
It's not Steven, but it's based off of Steven Spielberg's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's doing like a video for his high school, which is, also coincidentally like set in the 60s beach thing.
Yeah.
And he made like a senior skip day video, and they were going to play it at the prom. And his bully, he filmed him in a way to make him like the big hero of the movie. And the bully like confronted him and basically was like, why did you make me look like that? That's not who I am. I don't want to be the hero. I don't want to be this version of myself that everyone's going to start expecting.
Yeah.
And he just like broke down crying. Like,
yeah.
And Sammy Fabelman. And that was the character's name based off of Steven Spielberg. And Sammy like consoles him, was like, I'm sorry. You can be whatever you want to be. Like in life, you don't have to be what people expect you to be.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really powerful, and it's kind of on the same,
that
theme. It's very on the same theme of like expectations of everybody, but specifically in regards to like the Ken thing, how men are expected just to be a certain way, and it's
and
it's just taxing. It's taxing for everybody.
It's taxing, and honestly, it's a case of us forging the cage that we live in,
Yeah. Wow.
And
that's
so
a really great way to put it.
Yeah. But that being said, dude, I don't know, man. Barbie really stuck with me, and I really appreciate that film. I really appreciate just the good time that I had.
Yeah. I want to go see it again, to be honest with you.
I do want to go see it again.
We should go watch it.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Bro. And not only that, dude, but when I was getting emotional seeing Barbie, bro, I think it was really also just because I hate seeing Margot Robbie cry, dude. It makes me sad. Like the way she sold like both scenes where she was crying, or like those multiple scenes where she was crying.
Yeah.
It hurt my heart, bro.
You know what I was thinking, like while I was watching it, like Margot Robbie, and I'm not trying to like objectify her in any way, but she's very much like the Mona Lisa, like one of the most beautiful human beings I think that's ever been put to screen.
Truly.
And so when you look at her crying, it's very much like observing a tragic painting.
Yeah.
That brings you so much emotion, because here is this beautiful character in so much tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
and it's impactful in that
Yeah.
way. And that's I'm only saying this because she's a actor and they're printing her face on a screen, and in that way, it's very much from that artistic viewpoint, it's very much a tragedy when she cries.
For sure. And I also wanted to add too, America Ferrera was the secret star of this movie.
Yeah.
Did
she
not
had a
expect
huge monologue.
Yeah. Did not expect her to kind of pick up as like the co-lead, like midway through the movie. Like I wasn't expecting that at all, and that was really nice as well because America Ferrera, she's a great actress as well, and I'm happy that she got work, and I'm glad that she got work on this scale. Like this is fucking great for her.
This is huge for her.
And so hopefully this means more for America Ferrera in the future.
Yeah. I think the funny thing was the daughter, whenever they were like, how she had those friends around the table and they were all like nihilistic and shit.
Yeah.
So those characters were actually supposed to represent Barbie's what is it called? Barbie's like nemesis, the Bratz dolls.
Oh.
Yeah. So those characters represented like the Bratz dolls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting Easter egg.
Yeah,
Greta
Bratz
Gerwig
was made as like a response, right? To
yeah.
It
was like a competitor a little bit.
Nice.
So I thought that was really cool. But I also just want to like kind of end things that Ryan Gosling's delivery of the line "sublime" was like the best shit in the whole movie. He's like, Barbie, what does he say? He's like, can I please join you in something else? And she's like, okay, Ken. And then he like walks around the corner and he's just like, sublime. And I was watching an interview with Margot Robbie, Greta Gerwig, and Ryan Gosling, and they basically said that they just filmed a bunch of takes, and he would say something different like each time.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really scripted, and when he said sublime, it was like they took that, but it was completely improv. Yeah. So that was just fucking hilarious. But
great actor, great
movie.
Wow,
we're really gonna switch the tone here.
We will see you at the Oscars, Barbie, possibly.
Best picture.
Best picture.
Best original
possibly.
score. Best actor. Best supporting actor.
Guys,
I mean,
go see this movie if you haven't. What are you doing?
Dress up too.
Dress up. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Actually, dude, funny thing, I actually wore this. I actually dressed up for Barbie to see Oppenheimer. And I did the opposite, where I did Oppenheimer, going to see Barbie.
That's awesome. I think I saw some other dudes doing that at my theater.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I go to a theater that changes up their menu. I think that's really fun, too.
Ooh,
like,
nice.
I drank a Barbie-inspired beer. Like, it was, like, pink.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was at Flicks. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Man, we're really going to
Shout out Flicks Brewhouse.
I know, shout out. Please, dude, can you imagine we get a sponsorship from Flicks?
That'd be fucking dope.
Flicks, sponsor us. We are there all the time. $5.25 tickets on Wednesdays. Shit.
I will never go to another theater.
Yeah, Flicks is like very close to like the Draft House.
Yeah,
like it's very similar, and I really appreciate Flicks. And please sponsor us.
I do love Draft House though for just the culture.
Yeah,
just the culture,
But Flicks,
yes,
sponsor us. God.
But yeah, we're about to get really fucking dark with this.
I'm almost like dreading it a little bit, but
much like I was dreading it when it dropped, bro.
Yeah. Oppenheimer,
directed by Christopher Nolan.
Wow.
Starring Cillian Murphy.
One of the greatest like movies ever made. Like,
yeah.
Technically, like literally, like
literally.
But like Christopher Nolan as a director. So okay, you have your Scorseses, you have your De Palmas, you have your Oliver Stones.
Yes. And
in the new generation, you have your, still Scorsese.
Still Scorsese.
You have your Tarantinos.
Tarantino.
You have your Wes Andersons.
P.T. Anderson.
Christopher Nolan has slowly I say this because there's been a discussion about that has been brought up during his interviews about how directors are now the movie stars. Like you have your Zack Snyders of the world who are sometimes the name is bigger than the movie.
Yeah.
You can throw a Zack Snyder's name and this was the case for J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Like when you would see a lot of production, it would be like produced by J.J. Abrams.
Yep. You would
it
see
became
that.
like this thing, and it kind of happens to Quentin Tarantino a little bit. But he he only makes movies.
He's few and far between.
So
when Tarantino comes to town, you know it,
Yeah. Christopher Nolan, I think, has slowly, because if you go watch his early stuff, it's just as good.
Yeah.
But he doesn't let himself become the star.
Mm-hmm.
And it's slowly, time after time, and then he gets kind of caught up in the Batman franchise that kind of, I think, holds his creativity back. But he still made some of the best comic book movies ever.
Yeah.
And then he, comes out of that with, Dunkirk, Inception.
Yep.
You get Tenet. I think, he's slowly coming out of the background and into the forefront as one of the greatest directors of all time.
He will be. He will be.
Because and I say this because he's literally, him and his team are coming up with new ways to fucking make movies. They're
Constantly.
building new cameras. They're reinventing special effects.
They're using science and engineering to make movies better.
They're partnering with the greatest scientists to fucking consult and make sure that the black holes in Interstellar are accurate and shit.
Yeah. Dude, how do you create the quantum realm without CGI? That is unheard of, bro. Creating the quantum realm without CGI. That's what Nolan did in this movie.
In this movie, you have the showing of the creation of the atomic bomb. You also have a look at the atomic bomb exploding, and they did that without CGI. Mm-hmm. He partnered with his special effects guy, which I believe is named Andrew Jackson, which is funny. And they did stuff with magnesium, blowing up magnets and stuff to give that
They use magnesium, aluminum, butane, propane,
regular dynamite to make a small scale look at an atomic bomb explosion.
Yeah.
But besides that, the writing in this movie is so this movie clocks in at exactly 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that for some movies can be tough.
Yeah.
For instance, a great movie that's kind of hard to sit through.
Mm-hmm.
A good example of that would be Troy. Great movie.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to sit through though. I think if that were a mini series, that would have if they did what Tarantino did with The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Break it up into a series.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
And even The Hateful Eight, if you're not if you're not a Tarantino fan,
it's gonna drag.
It's gonna carry. I mean, maybe it won't. If you're a first time Tarantino watcher, but these things do have a tendency to just go on. You know, in some ways, and so you got to be careful with that 3 hour runtime. It's a very risky thing. Not only that, because you're not given as much theaters when you do premiere.
Yeah.
When you do premiere your film in theaters, and theaters aren't going to want to fill up their screens with a film that takes 3 hours long because you can't run it as often,
Yeah, and you also he's choosing to have way more IMAX viewings than the normal movie.
That's it's a major.
It's very hard.
It's a major risk. It's a major risk that Nolan takes with his films, and so far, dude, I think it's paid off.
Which I will say, if he didn't have all that stuff technically going on in the background with the theaters and the showings and all that.
Yeah.
This movie, I think, currently is crossing the 500 million mark. I think it easily would have reached 1 billion.
Could have
views.
Yeah.
Because there's more theaters, there's more ticket sales.
Yeah.
But he chose to stick to the integrity of the art, to protecting the integrity of the art by telling viewers, you fucking need to see this in IMAX
Yeah.
or 70 millimeter if you can.
Man. What was your IMAX theater experience like? You said it was full, right? Like you
It was
said,
packed.
like, yeah.
It was.
Where were you sitting?
I unfortunately was sitting a little bit closer to the back.
Oh, okay.
I would have liked to get a 70 millimeter showing, but it was sold out, and I had to see this shit on opening day.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting a little bit closer to the back, but it was still just absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah.
The visuals, like I was blown away.
Mm-hmm. The sound design is
the sound design
and the composing was great.
And I will say this is something that is talked a lot about in Christopher Nolan movies. And I'm going to explain why I think it's a good decision and why I think it's a bad decision, but there's a complaint amongst audiences that you can't really hear the dialogue in Christopher Nolan films.
Yeah.
Now, I think he does this so that, like, have you ever turned down the radio to get a better look at something while you're driving?
Yeah.
Like, that same idea, I think, is what he's trying to do with his movies. Because if you decide, hey, let's bring the dialogue in the entire movie down maybe like a dB. Nothing too drastic, but like a dB.
Yeah.
You find your audience is like really focused because they're trying to like what did he say?
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
And you just find them like,
it's like when you're mouthing words at somebody and somebody's like,
yeah, they're like really staring at you, like really trying to comprehend and then so they absorb more of the movie.
Shit.
And I think that's why he's doing it. Now, I say it's a bad idea because not everyone is a movie watcher like we are.
Yeah.
And some people were like, I can't fucking hear this thing. And
I think during Tenet one time I was just kind of like, man, I can't hear shit in this fucking movie.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. We were fucking blasted too when we saw that. Like we were,
dude, way too
we
much.
Took
way too
way,
much.
We took way too much of an edible.
I like fell asleep
to go. Yeah, I was like, because if y'all haven't seen Tenet, that shit is in reverse. It's in fast forward. There's scenes that go forward. There's action scenes that are in reverse. It's very fucking weird.
Nolan literally fanboys out on the James Bond shit. Like he's a major James Bond fanboy, and Tenet is definitely his James Bond movie.
Yeah.
That's his Bond movie right there.
But it's almost like, hey, I'm not gonna just do a James Bond movie. I'm gonna fucking flip it, turn it upside down, reinvent it and shit,
and crash a plane into
an airport. Like Jesus.
And that's also the cool thing about Nolan is that he is recognized by the shit that he does in his movies, where it's like people are already writing headlines about Nolan setting off an atomic bomb, crashing a plane into an airport. Those are the things that make people like.
Yeah,
it's like the hearsay that's like, oh shit, Nolan's making.
Well,
a movie?
it's like Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
like Tom Cruise
attempts suicide in like 67 times in his movies.
So like a lot of his stunts could be done with CGI.
Yeah.
And they would save the studios a lot of money.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and here's what Tom Cruise presents to the studio executives.
Yeah.
I will make you $200 million in ad revenue and promotion for this movie if we do these stunts for real. Because then he can put out a behind the scenes showing the making of the stunt.
Yep.
And he will put that out months before the movie premieres. And now everyone's like, oh shit, I gotta go see this.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise drove a motorcycle off a mountain? Like for real?
Yeah.
I gotta go see. Yeah, I gotta go see that. Oh, Tom Cruise, what? Oh, he was hanging onto a plane? Yeah. Like for real? I thought, oh man, I gotta see that, see how they did it.
Oh, Tom Cruise falls from a helicopter and lands on a payload midair? Like fucking that kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, I gotta go see that for real. And it brings in audiences.
Yeah.
And so with Chris Nolan, it's like he set off atomic bomb for real, which he didn't. But when someone says you don't do it with CGI, it's like you're like, so you did it for real, or like, and he didn't even really show a trailer until very recently.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone was talking about Oppenheimer already.
Yeah.
And then when they found out that Barbie and Oppenheimer were on the same day,
Mm-hmm.
everyone was talking about it even more
Yeah.
because of the contrast between the two movies.
And sorry to interrupt, but that was actually meant to be a. Wasn't that meant to like go against? That was meant to work against Nolan, right? That was
Yeah.
originally like what the intention was.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers wanted to kind of
yes.
bury Oppenheimer with
Yes.
as a way of kind of getting back
Yeah,
at him.
because there's some behind the scenes stuff where Warner Brothers didn't want to work with him anymore, and so
Yeah.
Oppenheimer is actually a Universal Pictures made
Yeah.
film. So, and goddamn, bro, they were like, oh, Chris Nolan, fucking, we'll take him.
Yeah.
They fucking gave him like 500 mil, and they were like, yo, take this, bro, make the greatest movie of all time.
They gave him a budget of 100 mil.
Yeah, that's still crazy.
That's first off, let's talk about this for a second, okay? Oppenheimer has a budget of $100 million, and it looks probably one of the most visually striking movies I've seen this past year.
So a lot of movies have these crazy budgets, like Spider-Man. A lot of Marvel movies, like,
Yeah.
and then like Thor, like, is a good example. Like, you could watch Thor, you could watch Ant-Man, Quantumania, and you're like looking at the budget. It's like 100 million, 150 million, and it looks like shit. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of it's going to like CGI that's getting rushed, and it's
Mhm.
just like it looks like shit. I don't know where that money's going. But when
Well-
they give 100 million to Christopher Nolan, it looks like $100 million movie. Like,
Yeah.
he fucking uses every cent
Yeah.
of that. Like, it's like, and there's conversations between directors and actors where it's like, hey, we really want to get Al Pacino in this role. Would you be willing to take a SAG minimum so that we can pay him more? And so
Yeah.
that's where that money goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Nolan, I bet, has conversations with actors like, hey, Killian, I will give you a percentage of the movie. Can you take a lower cut so we can hire this cinematographer, or so we can hire
Yep.
this script editor, or so that we can hire this visual effects, or not visual effects, but practical effects artist.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the allocation of money is just crazy. It's so smart.
The allocation of money is very, very good, as opposed to if you were to watch, say, some schlocky, really crappily put together MCU shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so for instance, like a Marvel movie that has a budget of like $200 million, right? What that mostly consists of, instead of like an Oppenheimer where you had maybe 6 or 7 producers,
Mm-hmm.
and a Marvel production that cost 200 mil,
Mm-hmm.
you have 22 producers, and they all got their hands in it, basically. And so, you know, the money goes for, you know, them cutting, you know, a fat check. And because of
Yeah.
that, the movie suffers visually. The movie suffers in terms of writing. The movie suffers in terms of people generally even giving a shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so you have Nolan here, who knows how to stretch 100 mil, use it in all the right ways. And because of that, this man is on track to being one of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he's like probably the greatest filmmaker of all time. Like, because I've been such a huge fan of his since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Even some of his movies that are really like Memento is like, man, like
Mm.
I've watched that so many times that I still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, or
Insomnia,
Insomnia.
The Prestige.
The
You know what, dude? I
Prestige.
still haven't seen The Prestige.
No way.
I still haven't seen.
All
the
right, we're
fucking
gonna watch.
Prestige.
Oh my god, dude.
I know.
Oh
dude.
my god.
I know, bro. Everybody keeps telling. I get that same reaction every time.
The Prestige is like, if you had only seen The Dark Knight and maybe had, yeah, like, let's say you only saw like the Batman movies, and then you watched The Prestige, which
Yeah.
I think came out after Batman Begins.
I think it did. After Batman Begins.
So if you have only seen those, right, and you want to see a Christopher Nolan movie that's like, holy fuck, like, that'll basically tell you like, oh, he's more than these Batman movies. Because I saw The Prestige. That was my introduction to Christopher Nolan,
yeah,
like, after Batman.
yeah,
And that was like, oh, okay, like, he can make this kind of movie. Like, he
Yeah,
can make an amazing fucking movie that's not
yeah.
tied to anything. It's like a completely original thing. And then I went back and I saw Memento. I saw Insomnia, Inception. You know, and then you start getting the bigger budget kind of movies that don't seem like they're getting wasted, like because there's these big budget movies like that come out and it just seems like a waste because of the CGI or whatever. But like Inception, huge budget, huge cast, all-star cast, and it's like he's using all that, you know.
Exactly. And you know, so that just, you know, just speaking a little bit on Nolan as a filmmaker. That being said, though, bro, Oppenheimer was just. This is really Robert Downey Jr.'s best film.
Yeah,
I will say this is his best role.
Besides Iron Man.
Besides Iron Man,
the first Iron Man.
The first Iron Man, guys. What's been driving me up the wall lately is all these fucking nerds going on saying like, nope, Captain America: Civil War, he was so much better in that, and I don't get it, bro. What?
No way.
What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Really? Let it go, bro. Like I honestly hope Robert Downey Jr. never comes back to Iron Man. Never ever comes back to Iron Man. He could take this potential that he has in his career right now as Louis Strauss. Dude, he could win the Oscar. He could win the Best Supporting Actor. Like I firmly believe that.
No, that's the thing. I think he's like, because we were talking about Ryan Gosling and stuff, and I just Robert Downey Jr. is like gonna take the cake, like because no one put on a better performance than him this year.
Exactly.
No one put on a better performance than him in recent years. And oh man, it's like you at first you're kind of like, okay, Iron Man, like especially to like general audiences, but like after that it's just Louis Strauss. Like it's just like he's gone. Like you like, but also like the way he portrays him as sort of like this. And obviously we're gonna be talking about spoilers and shit on this. That's given with this show, but you know, the way that he portrays this kind of like narcissistic, kind of undercover,
bitter, vindictive,
doing one thing, showing one thing, but then doing another, like secretly. Yeah, it's crazy.
The trial, the mock trial that was like set up for him, you know, when he was trying to get when Oppenheimer was trying to get his security clearance. Only to find out that Strauss orchestrated the whole fucking thing was just such a this really felt like Nolan's like JFK, you know. This really felt like his JFK movie for sure. What Oliver Stone did for JFK, Christopher Nolan definitely did for Oppenheimer in this movie.
This kind of was like JFK mixed with my The Social Network.
Yeah.
Because like the way they tell the story through like a trial,
dude, it's really one of those types of movies where I feel like you said, David Fincher's Social Network, Oliver Stone, JFK. This is one of those movies where I feel like it's told in a way that is made with such passion and with such great performances as well for everybody in those three movies that we're talking about. That in a way the true events almost don't really even matter, because now this is almost like this piece of work is going to transcend, you know, like what people understand about Oppenheimer, and it's going to carry into like this is going to be what we know now. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like where it's like Nolan created this movie with such passion now that it almost feels like it could have been made up. It feels like he almost like entirely made this up.
And he didn't take any liberties with this movie. Like everything is extremely factual. Like it is a on point biopic. Yeah. Like nothing is really like left for like Hollywood devices. Like it's told extremely accurately. Mm-hmm. He also throws in a little like with Florence Pugh's character, I forget her name. Not remembering it right now, but Jean Tatlock.
Jean Tatlock, yes.
Yes. So she commits suicide by taking a bunch of pills and then like drowning herself.
She drowned herself, yeah.
So there's like a little glimpse for like a second of like a hand on her neck with like a black glove. And so Christopher Nolan is basically saying like that he's just like for a second, it's just like he's insinuating that she might have been killed. Yeah.
He entertains the notion just for a brief moment.
A brief second. Like if you blink, you honestly miss it.
Yeah. Which honestly wouldn't have been outside the realm of possibility, considering Oppenheimer being a Jewish socialist.
She was a communist. The government was trying to really rein in Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
And he actually went to Chicago to visit her completely on his own, didn't tell anybody, huge security risk.
Yep.
So, yeah, she, like Marilyn Monroe, probably was killed by the government. Like, she knew it's the government, in a sense, could have assumed that she knew too much.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, but this movie is presented in a way where the first half of it feels like a biopic that has winding tension, right? You're getting winding tension throughout the entire first half of the movie. And at the same time, you're being told this story of Oppenheimer, right, as like this cocky genius, and you see his rivalry with Heisenberg as well. And you're given these little glimpses that like this man needs to achieve something great. The bomb is not about ending the war. For him, the bomb is about him,
Yeah.
And then you're greeted with this second half, basically, where you find out that like, you're basically finding out that like just how nefarious the U.S. government really was in their and how just how much they fucked him over, because at that time it really wasn't everything just fucking changed. Everything just changed after the atom bomb fell, right?
Yeah.
And so Oppenheimer, I think, realizing just how sneaky and conniving the government actually was, mixed in with the atomic, like the atomic bomb that was created, it was just a cosmic shift in how politics and how morality and science just kind of changed the world, And
yeah,
so,
the crazy thing about this is like this movie's called Oppenheimer. It's told mostly from his point of view.
Yeah.
He's the star.
Yeah.
But it does a really good job at a certain point in the movie of taking all of the power away from him.
Yeah.
And us as an audience member, we're like, oh, he ain't shit now.
Yeah.
Like
by the end of it, he's literally like just a shriveled, disheveled, withered old man,
And
who has to live with the consequences of his achievements the same way Albert Einstein did. I mean, we see Albert Einstein, in the first, half of the movie, and he looks like a disheveled old man. And literally, it was like by the end of it, Oppenheimer had just taken his place, pretty much, as like a successor,
Yeah, well, he's saying only once they crucify you,
Yep.
they will appreciate your work.
Yeah.
And basically, the creation of the atomic bomb was, they were worried that the Soviets or the Nazis would, not the Soviets, but the Nazis would come up with an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, the Germans surrendered.
Yeah.
Hitler died. The Germans surrendered. So at a certain point, they were like, well, why are we making this? But Japan, they had conducted the terrorist attack at Pearl Harbor. There was no sign that they were going to stop, basically. And there's this great scene where a bunch of generals are sitting around and Oppenheimer is there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of around the point where I realized, like, oh, he's not in control at all anymore. He's just kind of sitting there. Like,
when the general's making that decision, played by James Raymore.
Yeah, which is funny because this really happened, but they were gonna bomb Kyoto, and that specific general had actually honeymooned with his wife there, and he was like, "Nah, let's not do that."
Yeah, basically, he's like, it's a place of historical and cultural significance, and also me and my wife took a honeymoon there last year, and it's like that's all it takes. That's all it takes to decide who lives and who dies, man. Like, it's fucking astonishing, dude.
Yeah, the devastating part of this movie is realizing how quickly decisions are made. They're literally playing God.
Yeah.
How quickly decisions are made by these dudes who, like, who the fuck put them in? Who the fuck are they to decide the fate of, like, hundreds of thousands of people? Like,
exactly.
Like,
and
it's like crazy.
Crazy thing about it too is, man, is I had seen some people, they were talking about how like there wasn't like a Japanese perspective in it,
Yeah.
And in a way, it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like the movie is called Oppenheimer, so we are going to be getting basically like I feel like them being completely separated from like any kind of Japanese like influence or even a Japanese like presence actually solidifies how even more devastating it is. Is that you don't even see it. These are just numbers on the screen.
Exactly. It literally shows you how insignificant these civilians were to just
how inconsequential
they didn't give a
all
fuck.
of it was.
Their big thing was like, we're gonna end the war.
Mhm.
We're gonna have this show of force.
Yep.
I don't really give a fuck who dies or what happens. I don't even give a fuck if there's a chance that the world will end.
Yeah.
I want you to build this bomb.
Yep.
We're gonna take it from here. Just shut up.
They even said we're gonna drop it twice. We're gonna drop it twice. Once as a show of force, and then another to show that we can do this again and again and again.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that was Matt Damon's words right there. And then bro, the scene too where when Oppenheimer's given the speech after they had just dropped after they just done the Trinity test, and he sees these flashes of lights and his PTSD is like kicking in. It's his first experience with like PTSD. And then as he's walking out, he's seeing all these people like
burnt,
like burned. But then as he continues walking out, he's seeing like the real reactions of some people who are just fucking devastated with like what they had done, what they had taken part in, basically.
which, by the way,
like,
no one. So like they don't really do a real good job at explaining this, but no one who was working on the project actually knew what they were working on.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of a dramatic irony because we know that they're all working on the atomic bomb, but the characters themselves, like, it's important to know that no one there knew exactly what they were working on. And no one for sure, like 100%, no one for sure knew what it was going to be used for. So I just want to make that clear. They don't do a good job at explaining that.
Yeah.
But that's because we're in the future. We know what happened. We know that the atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yep.
We know that who J. Robert Oppenheimer is. So that we're kind of taken away a little bit from that mystique of the project. But the Manhattan Project was super secretive. The compartmentalization of ideas between scientists was a huge issue.
They built a town,
and they built a town, Los Alamos,
just to have people stay there with their families, just so that they wouldn't have to.
And
leave,
no one knew,
know?
like no one knew what was going on. There were people sending out memos, sending out letters. There was people working there, and nobody knew what they were working on. So, yeah, Can you imagine the betrayal where it is announced that you just were part of making a bomb that was dropped on just innocent people? Like, all these people were devastated. J. Robert Oppenheimer is just
hundreds of thousands,
just devastated. Like, and a large part of why he wanted to go through with this was for science. Yeah. Like, it was a landmark. The ability to split atoms, it was a landmark in science, and that is what drove him, not to be the destroyer of worlds. And
in a way, it was like he had felt as though, that he was in kind of a green zone to do it because, I mean, the war was at a point where it was getting close to wrapping up. Germany surrendered. Like, that was the whole point of like why he even started it in the first place, because he knew Heisenberg was working with the Nazis. And so he's like, okay, well, now I got to beat out this motherfucker, only to find out that, like, well, I don't have to, but he's still working on it. And then, I mean, guys, just think about it for a minute. You're waking up one day, you're going to work, and then you're finding out that the thing that you've been working on for the past year is, like, designed to kill people in the hundreds of thousands, bro. And you didn't even know. And even crazier fucking thing about it, too, is Oppenheimer didn't even get to see the bomb drop. He didn't even get to see the bomb drop over Nagasaki or Hiroshima. And he was removed from it. And then, bro, when Truman brings him into the Oval Office.
Cameo by Gary Oldman.
Fucking Harry Truman.
Which this really happened, by the way.
Yes, but true story.
This is 100% accurate.
Oppenheimer, he comes into the Oval Office, and Truman is telling him, like, congratulations, you've helped win this war. I appreciate your contribution. And Oppenheimer just tells him, like, I feel like I have blood on my hands. To which Truman pulls out a handkerchief and he hands it to Oppenheimer. And he says, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, it's not about you. I dropped the bomb. He basically told him, get this fucking crybaby out of here,
Yeah,
dude.
get this crybaby out of here.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to, give a brief mention that, every single actor that was in this movie was fucking giving the performance of their life.
Yeah.
And mind you, Josh Peck is in this movie.
Yeah.
And even he had like pretty much no lines.
Yeah.
Gave the performance of his career.
Performance of his career, Josh Peck.
You got the fucking guy from Sky High.
He redeemed himself from Red Dawn.
Yeah, dude, you have David Krumholtz who fucking puts on a masterclass.
Josh Hartnett.
Haven't
seen that guy in forever.
Amazing.
Oh.
And then you have Benny Safdie, which I've always considered one of the greatest actors around. Puts on a fucking, oh my God, he plays Edward Teller, the creator of the hydrogen bomb. Oh my God.
Man.
Amazing.
Benny Safdie.
Amazing actor.
First off,
he had the most impactful lines to me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like he had the most impact, like besides Oppenheimer, like the scenes with Benny Safdie were fucking.
Yeah. Dude, Benny Safdie is a hidden talent, bro. Like I don't know. He first
I need
off
more of him.
I need more Benny Safdie.
Yeah, like after Good Time, I was like, I need more of this guy. Like
directed Good Time, starred in Good Time, and then goes on to make Uncut Gems. And then
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
He was so good, dude.
He's on fire, man.
He has like that line where he's like, until someone builds a bigger bomb.
Until someone builds a bigger bomb.
And it's like, damn.
Dude.
There's a lot of ways I can go into this about like UFOs and stuff, but I'm not going to. I just want everyone to know.
Talk about UFOs?
Well, I just want everyone to know that really quick, like, the timing of this movie coming out and then the timing of them saying, like, we have crafts and alien bodies is pretty coincidental. But I think it's important for everyone to just understand this one thing. The way the compartmentalization between scientists of the atomic bomb is exactly what's happening with the compartmentalization of ideas between scientists regarding UFOs. So it's important for everyone to know that what happened in Oppenheimer is exactly what's happening right now behind the scenes.
Yep.
And it's been happening since the 50s regarding UFOs. These crafts, they operate under anti-gravity engines, which not only create a whole new way to fly, but this anti-gravity technology also leaves open the opportunity for clean energy, which is, imagine no more gas, no more electricity.
Yeah.
Your house would be powered by like a single box that would just be emitting energy. Like, I can't even explain to y'all to like get y'all to comprehend.
Like just imagine such a world,
Yeah, like we will never get there because all these natural resources and the mining of natural resources makes so much money.
Yeah.
And so in terms of what we're doing with UFOs and how it relates to Oppenheimer is we are afraid that our enemies would get this technology and use it against us first. Mm-hmm. So we are doing a lot in regards to the UFOs that mirrors what was going on in Oppenheimer in terms of like we are building upon this technology before our enemies do. That's the way the government works, and the government still works that way to this day.
Yeah.
And it's super unfortunate, and there's all these little laws and stuff. There's stuff that Congress has no idea about, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like absolutely crazy. There's people that are super rich, and I'm not talking about Elon Musk. I'm talking about people that are super rich that do not want their name in the headlines, that are like funding a lot of this shit. They're getting government contracts to like take the UFOs. Like there's this guy named Robert Bigelow who like owns a space program or some shit. He's just this rich guy. He's just a rich guy that's interested in this shit. So he created a space program. He got a government contract for $22 million to basically, it's for space exploration, but he basically gets these crafts and is allowed to study them and re-engineer like some of their technology.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like, I know it sounds crazy, and I've been saying stuff like this for like the longest time, but they just came out and said it's real.
Guys, they said it's real.
It's real. So
it's real.
I just like
He was right.
I've been right.
He's been right. He's been right.
And like also like they don't look like little green men. Like they don't all have big heads, big eyes. We're humans. There's African Americans, there's Caucasian, there's Chinese people. Why the fuck would there be one type of alien? Like
True.
there's multiple different species of aliens. There's interdimensional ones, there's ones from different planets, there's ones that look exactly like us that can like shapeshift and stuff. And this is all stuff that will come out. I'm saying it right now publicly. It will come out, and I'm calling it. It's just I just found that this topic was closely related to what I was observing in Oppenheimer, so I just thought I'd throw a shout out. But back to Oppenheimer. Sorry. A lot of people say like they didn't, fucking. I thought I was gonna hear this giant explosion. Like the beauty of Oppenheimer is actually you don't really. Christopher Nolan does a really good job at like not really showing the impact of the bomb other than a wave. And I think he does that as a way to visually storytell the fact that all of these characters during the Trinity test are so detached from the devastation that will later occur at Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah. And that was really the point of it too, you know, is like
they're all safe.
I mean, here's the ironic thing about it, man, is that Oppenheimer is said to be the father of the atomic bomb, right? But much like how some fathers are, he doesn't even see the fucking bomb, dude. You know, so it's like, that's kind of the irony of it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like,
but not only that, dude. I just think that people are wrong, man. Like the fact that this fucking thing was pulled off without CGI is no doubt an impressive feat, man.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's a lot of people who just are easy to write that, real quick to write that off.
Absolutely.
You know, because, bro, if they had thrown green screen and CGI in there, it would not have fazed me one bit. Right? There's an old scene in a Roger Moore James Bond movie that I saw recently where it was literally these two guys, they're fighting on this boat, and the boat is getting chewed up by these propellers.
Yeah.
And in the movie, I mean, of course, this was back in the 60s, 70s, no CGI, practical effects. The propellers are tearing this fucking boat apart, right? And I'm over here like I'm getting nervous. I'm getting sweat. I'm like, dude, they're really fucking close to those propellers. You know?
Yeah.
I'm over here thinking like these actors are gonna get their heads fucking chopped off, right? Of course, it's not gonna happen because I'm watching a movie. But there's that tension. There's that tension.
Yeah.
There's that air of danger, and that's something that you couldn't have got if you had that same scene, and you instead taken out the authentic propellers and thrown in some green screen CGI shit, would have had no impact whatsoever. And that's the same thing that happened with Oppenheimer. Is it would have had no impact if they had decided to do CGI, and I'm glad they didn't, because this makes it, you know, pretty much, you know, solidifies it as one of the best practical effects to be put in a movie.
Well, Christopher Nolan is quoted as saying that like CGI feels safe.
Yeah.
Like he says CGI makes you feel super safe, like it's too safe. They want you to feel like you're in danger. Like basically, and that's what this whole thing was about.
Yeah.
But you know, Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer was just absolutely best actor. You know.
Yeah, like, they couldn't have picked a better guy.
Yeah, that's.
For this.
He actually went on like a almond a day. I think he only ate like a almond.
What?
Yeah, like some crazy shit like that.
Holy
like
shit.
an almond diet to like get that like gaunt like
that skeletal look.
look, yeah,
basically. Yeah.
like just crazy dedication.
God, dude, that's actors are crazy, man.
I would do it.
Yeah.
You know, I guess the thing that we can leave you with is something that the movie leaves you with, but there is a close to zero chance that whenever they dropped the atomic bomb, it would lead to a chain reaction, lighting all of the neutrons, I believe, if I'm using the correct scientific terms, lighting all the neutrons on fire, and it just wouldn't stop. So every neutron that's in the air would be ignited, and there would be a chain reaction, just basically lighting up the entire the world and just destroying the world.
Yep.
So there was a close to zero chance, and they discuss this in the movie as like close to zero, not zero, close to zero chance.
Zero.
So there was that chance that they could have destroyed the world when they dropped this. And Oppenheimer takes his calculations to Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
And there's a scene that fuels Louis Strauss's character, because he considered himself one of Einstein's, great acquaintances.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he's walking up to him and he's like shaking his hand, and Einstein just walks past him and just ignores him.
Completely disses him.
Yeah, and he always assumed that Oppenheimer was talking shit about him. But what Oppenheimer really was, they were talking about like how whenever Oppenheimer brought the calculations to Einstein, how they talked about a chain reaction getting started that would destroy the whole world. And Oppenheimer was like, I've been thinking that maybe we did create a chain reaction that would destroy the whole world.
Yeah.
The reaction that he was thinking was not immediate, but almost like a timed release. And Christopher Nolan does this really cool thing, symbolism with the raindrops hitting the water.
Yeah.
Which has been a theme throughout the whole movie. Oppenheimer is hypnotized by these raindrops hitting the water. And we find that it mirrors bombs getting dropped throughout the world, nuclear bombs. And he then imagines himself in a plane seeing just countless missiles just go over and just bomb the whole world. And we are left as an audience with the idea that he was right.
Yeah.
We are on track to destroy ourselves with these nuclear weapons.
We're essentially living with his consequence right now.
Yeah. And that moment when it ended, Cillian Murphy's look at the end of the movie in the final scene was everybody's look in the theater as they walked out.
Yeah.
I've never really experienced, except for... No, I don't think I've ever experienced a movie theater that quiet as everyone walked out.
There have only been 2 times ever that I've been in a theater where they had those reactions of complete silence, and that was Black Klansman, when they showed the Charlottesville footage at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, I'm not even kidding, dude. Like, once they showed the black and white American flag and they ended it on that, there wasn't a peep in that fucking theater, dude. Like, nobody said anything.
Yeah.
Same thing with Oppenheimer, where Oppenheimer is imagining just this nuclear arsenal that has yet to exist. And when the thought of it becomes too much, he closes his eyes, cut to black. Bro, not a peep in that theater. Like, everybody was just,
yeah.
whoa. Like,
And as I was walking out, I was just devastated by the thought of, like,
a simple chain reaction. And simple, like, it's banal pettiness, really, that brought Oppenheimer into the Trinity test. It started with Louis Strauss, in a way. He was the Secretary of Defense. He put Oppenheimer in charge. And something so meaningless between 2 men where one man even has like the assumption, that, oh, fucking Oppenheimer was talking shit about me, and that sets off this chain reaction that now we're every day we wake up and we think, shit, is this World War III? Is World War III gonna happen?
Yeah.
Every year we talk about World War III.
You know what's crazy? I just realized something now that you said that.
Yeah.
I think the character of Oppenheimer and the character of Louis Strauss is basically the United States and the Soviet Union. Because if you think about it, the Soviet Union is operating under like, oh, what do they know?
Yeah.
Or did he say this? And they're all like confused. They're all assuming.
Yeah.
When in actuality, like, the United States is like, what? Like, you're just doing one thing, but then this thing is assuming another about this one.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, is that not the central problem with nuclear war?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's just assuming everything about everybody.
Yeah. Dude, I'm even reminded of what Joker said in his monologue in The Killing Joke, where he says, do you know how many times World War III was nearly started over a flock of geese flying over a fucking computer screen?
Yeah.
It's because it's like, guys, we don't even understand the power of this fucking thing. And even when we do understand it, we still don't.
Yeah.
In a sense. Like, the only thing we know is that we know nothing, basically.
Yeah. So, yeah. Barbenheimer. That's
Yeah. Guys, go to the movies.
Go see these movies.
Go to the movies and enjoy yourselves. Dress up in pink.
Yeah. They're extending
Look.
the IMAX showings
Yeah.
till I think August 11th. So
Hell yeah. Plenty of time, guys.
go watch these movies.
Look fabulous. Get some existential dread from both of these movies.
Yeah, definitely have a drink.
Going
to see both of these movies, but definitely Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Have a smoke before you go see Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's.
But that being said, this has been the Barbenheimer episode of In the Box.
Episode
Joey,
6.
did you have anything you wanted to say? Anything else?
No.
I think I've said it.
I've said everything. And yeah.
Well, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Till next time.